Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. How are you guys doing today? It's a really hot one today. I don't think it's any different than yesterday, but yeah, it's hot today. And yeah, so I have plenty of water. You guys make sure you're drinking a lot of water, you're taking care of yourself, and you just, you know, stay in someplace cool. I hope everyone is doing well, and thank you for being here today. Thank you for my new subscribers. Thank you for being here, guys, and my old subscribers too. I really show a lot of gratitude that you guys, subscribing to the channel, telling other folks as well. Um, I have really been trying um, to continue to take time out for myself on a daily basis. And for some reason, this week it seemed to be like, I don't know, my time was being eaten up with some matter that I had to take care of. And that's why I wasn't here on Tuesday because an ongoing matter that God gave me the victory over as I continue to persevere. That's why I always tell you guys keep going, no matter what it looks like in the natural. Ask God to help you and keep going. So, thank you for being patient with me on Tuesday that I wasn't able to be here. And I thanking God and praising Him for the victory. Like I said, He comes through. Not when we want Him to, but He's always right on time. Excuse me, guys. I'm suffering with allergies today. I have to get some more Flonase. Just realized I ran out of it. That helps keep me going. If anybody has allergies. But anyway, yeah, the victory, I'm just so thankful. And before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about my mom's words, you know, especially when I was in my 30s, early 30s, and I was a mom myself with my son. And certain things my mom kept telling me over and over again to do. You have to take care of this and you have to take care of that because if you don't, this will happen. A, B, C, D, E, and F. And it felt like the Charlie Brown. Have you guys watched the Charlie Brown cartoons where they go, wah, 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 wah? Yeah, that's what it felt like, and my siblings, it's four of us, and they always, the other three always felt like I was the favorite and I got this and I got that, mom's favorite. No, mom was harder on me than she was with anybody else. I had to hear it hardcore, with her constantly calling me, telling me why you didn't do this, because if you would have did this, this would have happened instead of the negative stuff that's happening right now. She went on and on and on to the point where I don't know, back in the day, back then, I just didn't want to be bothered with stuff like, how you have stuff that's going on and it feels like it's piling up and you're trying to take care of it. But as you try to take care of it, it starts feeling like the walls are closing in. And I was just saying the hell with it instead of really doing what I'm doing today, guys. And my mother was on me. And the reason why I'm talking about this, because I heard everything she said. I just didn't want to be bothered with it at the time that she was telling me all of this, and she wouldn't let up. And one day I can remember that she called me, and I was cooking dinner for my son and myself, and she was telling me about something, and I'm like, I don't have time to really be bothered with this right now, And she went off, and she kept going on and on and on and on, so much so when my mother get into that, she would just keep going. And to the point I would put the phone down, go do some more stuff in the kitchen, pick it up and say, put it back down. And then it got to the point where I just hung up. About an hour later, she calls back and I'm thinking it's somebody else. And she goes, as I was saying, and she continues the conversation over and over. And I'm like, oh my God, you know. But the good news is, even though she's not here anymore, I heard everything that she said. and started to put everything into action into my life. You know, wish I would have done it sooner. I would give anything to hear her voice again, have her yell at me, say something, or whatever. If you guys have your parents here, spend time with them. Tell them that you love them. Hug them. You know, spend that time because one day they're not going to be here. And I really thought my mother would still be here no matter what, you know? And even though I just got signs that she wasn't going to be here much longer, I still didn't want to accept that. If your parents are here, spend the time. Let them know you love them, you know? And if they tell you something, listen. Even if you don't agree with them, just listen and hear them out. And I really wish back then, guys, that I would have did that because everything she was telling me to do was for my own benefit, my own good, but I didn't want to be bothered. But let me tell you about this healing work. You know, from the time that she passed away in 2020, healing and just looking at a mirror of things that I didn't want to look at, I didn't want to be bothered with. So God sat me down. Okay, you don't want to be bothered. You're gonna sit in this, you know. And I had a choice to swim or drown, and I chose to do the work. And the work wasn't easy, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy. It's a lot of work looking at yourself, looking at your mistakes. Moving forward, you don't want to repeat the mistakes because as I go back, you know, if you guys go back to some prior videos, I talk about how that will spin. And if you're not healing and you making the same decisions as before, different characters, but same scenario. And when that will spin again, that lesson is going to come back and it's going to be worse than ever. And I just got tired of that. And I really decided to do the work. And it was hard. For the first, I'll say 4 months, I was mad at God for a long time, saying things I should have never said, you know, talking to Him. But God gives grace and mercy, you know. And I was just because I didn't want to be bothered with any of it. But as I did the work, I healed. You know, crying is an outlet for the pain as well as therapy and stuff. And I did the work. And as I did, I make better decisions for my life. I see and hear the words of my mother today, even though she's no longer here. And I have been applying those things. And one of the things that happened this week, which was really made me really upset because it shouldn't have happened. But I remember some things that my mom would say about these things. You know, one of the things is she didn't use the word persevere, just keep going. And then I just kept going because a part of me is like, I don't feel like being bothered with this because I had to hop, skip, and you know, make sure I take care of the situation. The old version of myself would have said, the hell with this and just let everything fall apart. But the healed version of myself know that I got to keep moving forward. I did too much work to let this happen. And as I did that, I went into prayer with God to give me the strength. You know, guys, I say in prior videos, maybe not enough, that my strength, because people say, how do you keep going and you keep going like a Duracell battery? My strength comes from God. Everything I do comes from God Himself because I am a prayer warrior and I stay in prayer day and night with God. And if something is wrong and I start to get upset about it and cry, I see the changes. God comes right in because it was a situation that was happening back to back to back. And I was in prayer and fasting and doing, and then all of a sudden it flipped, you know, and I started giving God the praise. And this is what I mean, people, when I talk about persevere. It's just like I use the metaphor of a baby getting up to walk. They know they're not going to walk the first couple of steps, they're going to fall down maybe a few times, maybe for a while, and then one day they get up, they're walking. This is how we have to do with this thing called life because sometimes people are behind the scenes trying to make problems for you, especially those who don't want to see you grow, heal, and evolve, you know. And I had to deal with a certain situation. And thank God that I got the victory in it as I went to Him because the old version of myself would probably want to do something else. But because I'm healed and, you know, and I do the work, I go to God and He takes care of it because He can handle all these things better than I can. So I'm just saying that before we get started into the message today, because it made me remember the words of my mother when I didn't want to be bothered. And I did keep moving forward, and things just went in my favor with the help of God. So, guys, the key factor is never give up on yourself and keep moving forward. The topic of discussion today is be yourself. Keep in mind, I'm not a therapist or a social worker or a counselor. I'm somebody who's gone through hell and then some and came back from it all with the help of God and with doing the work to heal, excuse me, and to the key factor to persevere. I don't give up. I just keep going. And as I do in giving the tons of bricks and the burdens to God, because I would say to God, listen, this is too much. I can't do this. Um, because I can't focus on the vows I made if this is right here and it's just, overwhelming. God comes through and He removed those burdens so I can stay focused. And then He carries those burdens. And I'm just grateful for a lot of things in my life today because it wouldn't turn out this way if I didn't decide to heal. So, guys, let's talk about this: fake smiles, fake friends, and fake love. This is the world we live in today. There's so much fakeness in this world today. It seems as if people don't know how to be their authentic selves. So much fakeness today. And it just leads me to ask, why can't we just be ourselves? Why do we have to be the version of something that we're not? And this used to be a question of mine growing up. Um, After I started doing the work to heal, I love the fact that I can be myself now because before I started doing the work, I was being subservient to everybody else and trying to be what they wanted me to be until I learned to not just heal, but to self love, you know? Um, the world will be a better place if people can just be their authentic selves. People will be happier, and if people really told you the truth about how they felt about certain situations instead of faking it, um, things will get resolved and people will be better for it, just being honest. It's a lot of things in this world, fake small pleasantries, smiling in your face while behind the scenes trying to set you up for failure. All these things I'm talking about is all the things that I had to go through. And I kept letting it happen over and over again because I was afraid of losing people out of my life. But the fact of the matter is, guys, that these people were really never in my life for the right reasons anyway, whether it's family members, whether it's friends, romantic relationships, business settings, no matter what it was. It wasn't in my life for the right reasons. And if something is not there for the right reasons, as you start to heal, grow, and evolve, and you ask God to help you, He's just going to bulldoze those things out of your life because you're asking Him to help you and you're doing the work. And I always talk about this, even if you don't feel like it. You put forth an effort. God is putting forth 2, 3, 4 right behind the scenes to help. God had to sit me down because I wasn't learning the lessons to let me see what was going on so that I can see all of it, the fakeness, the malicious lies, the using and abusing, and whatever else. And a therapist helped me to gain clarity on all of it through the pro and con list. What are these individuals? Doesn't matter who they are, what their position in life is, what they were to me, etc., so forth. What are they bringing to the table? Do a pro and con list. And if the pros outweigh the cons, then you're overgiving. You're giving too much. You're being subservient. In every list I did, the pros were outweighing the cons. And I started crying. I started really, really looking at this because I realized that I was being a doormat to other people just to keep them in my life. And that was a hard, rude wake up call. But let me tell you, the work was even gruesome. It was really, really a lot of work, but really necessary. After the trauma of it all, guys, I decided to heal in order not to succumb to something that I know that I didn't want. And the work, wasn't easy. It's like looking at a mirror of yourself and you see things in that mirror that you don't like and you know you need to change them. And the work doesn't happen overnight, day by day. Nothing ventured is nothing gained. So what I decided to do after crying and praying and crying and praying is I chose myself. I decided to do the work and I chose myself and I chose to have peace instead of drama, toxicity, and negativity in my life. And I set strong boundaries. And when those boundaries were overstepped, which I figured some people would do that, I reiterate the boundaries. And then when it continued, I cut off, block, and delete people out of my life because they were never there for a good reason, and these things wasn't benefiting me. It wasn't for my highest good. Now, as I chose myself in peace, I am on this platform not to just help myself but to help others to do the same. And that was one of my vows to God, because people need to know that you can grow and heal from trauma, bonding situations that took place in your life, from grief, from pain, from abuse, whether it's physical or verbal. You can grow because I'm living proof of that. I mean, the things that happened to me, guys, I should have succumbed to it in a natural world without God. But like I said, my strength is drawn from God. And if God is for me, then who can be against me? And I don't give up, whether it's good times or not good times. Then when it's get hard, I'm in prayer, 2, 3 days fasting in prayer until I get an answer. Remember, the key factor here that I always talk about is to keep going, persevere, and never give up on yourself, because your physical and mental health is everything. And without that, people, you're no good to yourself or anybody else, and you can't do anything for yourself or anybody else if your physical and mental health is affected. One of the things as you continue to heal, besides having an inner peace, be yourself. Never allow anyone to talk you into being something that you're not. Just be your authentic self. Some people will love you and gravitate to you, while others will hate and berate you. Let them. Let them. Stay focused on yourself. Set those boundaries and let people know why you're setting these boundaries. I need to focus on myself, my healing, and if they don't respect that, then perhaps you need to think about why they are in your presence in your life. Doesn't matter what the connection is. We are here to learn. Like I said, things and circumstances and people come into our life for reason, season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And if the lessons are not learned, then we have to repeat them and they get worse as we go along. So try to heal these things. It takes time. You fall, get right back up again. God understand and ask him to help you. I had to ask him plenty of times for help, guys. Be your authentic self without explanation. You don't owe anybody anything, but you owe everything to yourself. Heal so that you can move forward. Embrace your peace, because it is better, guys, to be at a place of peace, inner peace, instead of broken down into pieces. That's the message today, guys. Share this message with other people. Make sure you're taking care of yourself on a daily basis, whether you have time for yourself for an hour, 2 hours. Make sure you're doing things to uplift your spirit, especially in this broken world that we live in today. Thank you for being here, guys. I'll be back with a new message tomorrow. Hopefully, it's a bit cooler tomorrow than this heat today. And make sure you're drinking plenty of liquids and check on others to make sure they're okay as well. Well, guys, have a good evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. And bye for now.